It's one of the rare genuine outdoor accidents you see Thanksgiving what we're talking about, right?
And it's cold enough. I mean, it's warm enough.
Yeah, it's really warm today.
My mask now.
There you go.
Right.
Cory Booker.
I didn't get the memo. I didn't get the memo.
You know, he hasn't been a candidate in a while.
Nobody wants to run against the guy, so.
Yeah, tell me. They import him to run against him.
Good morning, everybody. First, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Senator Menendez, Governor Murphy, Cory Booker, Assemblyman Mahata, I don't see... Mejia. Congressman Pascrell, I don't see County Executive DeGise, but it's a pleasure to be here today. It's a very important day for us. We're standing right now, we're looking over Route 3 and Route 3 East-West. These bridges will soon become part of this program. I'm so glad that these funds have been used for this. On behalf of myself, I don't want to steal anybody's time, but Senator Menendez,
Same page.
you could speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Bob. Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. It's the same page, so there's nothing wrong with that. Let me thank Mayor Ganelli for hosting us today. It's a great day, not just for Secaucus and Hudson, but for the state. And before I start, I normally do this in private, but today is the 85th birthday of our colleague in the House of Representatives, so happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Bill, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I had to remember. Well, I always call you so. Anyhow, happy birthday, Bill. We wish you many more healthy and happy ones. We're here by the Route 3 bridge to celebrate the first major infusion of federal bridge funding made possible by the historic infrastructure bill President Biden signed into law last November. Senator Booker and I, along with Congressman Pascrell and our House delegation, fought hard for the Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act because we knew what it would mean for New Jersey. Smoother roads and safer bridges, modernized railways and more mass transit, cleaner drinking water and new electric vehicle infrastructure, good-paying jobs, and a more competitive economy. And I know Governor Murphy, thank you, Governor, for joining us today, and Commissioner Gutierrez-Scaccetti of the Department of Transportation are ready to put these historic investments to work. I also want to recognize a dear friend, a labor leader of international import, Ray Pocino with the Laborers International Union of North America, for joining us. This infrastructure deal is a big win for New Jersey workers, so we're glad to have you here. Also glad to have Commissioner Marenko of North Bergen and Commissioner Cirillo of West New York to be with us as well. Our previous president talked a lot about infrastructure, but he never delivered. As I've said in the past, President Trump cared more about building walls than sturdier bridges. It took a Democratic president and a Democratic House and Senate to get the job done. And now New Jersey workers are going to get the job done, repairing, replacing, and improving bridges across our state. Over the next 5 years, more than $1.1 billion will help repair and replace dilapidated bridges throughout New Jersey, starting with this initial infusion of $229 million for 2022. That's on top of $6.8 billion in highway funding and over $4.1 billion in guaranteed transit funding headed our way. And we're also working to secure billions of dollars in competitive funds to complete Gateway and build new Trans-Hudson tunnels. Gateway, which got new, higher ratings, and we always said if we were honestly rated, we would get higher ratings. by the Federal Transit Administration, just got those higher ratings, which opened the door to making sure that what many of you asked us at many press conferences, is Gateway dead? And we said, not by a long shot, it's alive, and it is moving forward. And there's another $12.5 billion we can compete through to the Competitive Bridge Investment Program. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act is the largest investment in America's infrastructure since the creation of the federal highway system. That was 1956, 66 years ago. So this is beyond a generational investment. And boy, do we need it. Throughout New Jersey, we have 500 bridges in a state of disrepair, including the Route 3 bridge behind us today. New Jersey is the most densely populated state in the nation, so it's no surprise our bridges get a lot of wear and tear. But this is truly a nationwide problem. Americans travel across more than 45,000 dilapidated bridges throughout the United States, more than 171 million times each and every day. Rundown bridges are a hazard to public safety. And I'm not just talking about the threat of collapse. I'm talking about the traffic delays and the deadly car accidents, road congestion, and harmful pollution, not to mention the longer commutes that force hardworking people to miss out hours of quality time with their families. Decrepit bridges also drive up costs for businesses and consumers, especially during a global pandemic that continues to disrupt our supply chains. Investing in infrastructure that moves goods and people more efficiently to our economy will have a stabilizing impact on the rising prices so many folks are concerned about right now. I know that Commissioner Gutierrez-Scaccetti and the entire NJDOT team work hard to keep our bridges throughout New Jersey safe and operational, and they do a great job. But you can only do so much with limited resources. Years of chronic underinvestment in our infrastructure have forced transportation agencies across America to stick Band-Aids over gaping wounds. Meanwhile, the backlog of repairs gets longer and longer every year. Our infrastructure used to be the envy of the world. Yet today, the World Economic Forum doesn't even rank America's transportation infrastructure in the top 10. For far too long, Washington's obsession with trickle-down economics has prioritized tax cuts for the wealthy over infrastructure investments that create opportunity for everyone. With the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we're finally going to put the Band-Aids away. Instead of temporary fixes, New Jersey will be able to pursue more ambitious projects like this one. The Route 3 Eastbound Bridge was built in 1934. That's nearly a century ago. And it's fair to say traffic was a lot lighter back then. Today, more than 150,000 vehicles cross the Hackensack River via Route 3 every day, many of them headed for the New Jersey Turnpike or downtown Manhattan via the Holland Tunnel. The ever-growing demand placed on this bridge have prompted New Jersey DOT to make several repairs and complete emergency work over the years. Now, with this $1.1 billion in bridge funding headed to New Jersey, we can focus on building a new, modernized eastbound span across the Hackensack River, and I think the governor has some specific announcements about this that is even greater than what we thought in terms of what will be built. As chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I can tell you that a global economy is more competitive and interconnected than ever before. If we want to maintain our competitive edge over China, if we want more companies to invest in America, if we want the 21st century to be another great American century, then we must build the infrastructure our businesses and our workers need to win. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act will unleash American ingenuity and help us build a more resilient, more sustainable, and more productive economy. And we have no intention of stopping here. We must keep fighting for the remainder of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda. Lifting children out of poverty, making child care more affordable, dealing with tax cuts for working families, addressing the climate change through the creation of new jobs, providing hardworking homeowners with tax relief, like the reinstatement of the SALT deduction. These are investments that will grow New Jersey's middle class. They too are a bridge to a more prosperous future for all Americans, and we are going to continue to fight for them as hard as we fought for this historic bipartisan infrastructure deal. Let me just say a brief word in Spanish, because I was told that we have several of our Hispanic press here, and then French as well. Je parle français très bien. Oui, okay. Well, you know, what other challenges you want to throw my way? No, okay. Simplemente estamos aquí con el gobernador, el senador Booker, el congresista Pascrell y todos estos distinguidos personas para anunciar una inversión del gobierno federal enorme para nuestros puentes, para nuestra infraestructura, para nuestro sistema de transportación. Más de 1.1 billones de dólares van a ayudar a New Jersey, empezando con este proyecto que está atrás de nosotros en la Ruta 3 con 229 millones de dólares. Eso es además de 6.8 billones de dólares para fondos de transporte de nuestras carreteras y 4 billones de dólares para nuestro sistema de tránsito que tanto de nuestra comunidad usa. Y también tenemos una nueva meta que estamos logrando por una nueva nota que se dio para construir los nuevos túneles adentro de Nueva York y New Jersey. Todo eso es una inversión en nuestro futuro, una inversión que nuestros trabajadores van a tener enormes cantidades de trabajo a hacer y vamos a tener una mejor calidad de vida, vamos a respirar mejor aire y vamos a pasarnos menos tiempo en tráfico y más tiempo con nuestras familias y siendo productivos en nuestros negocios. Y por eso hoy es tan importante. Esta inversión no se ha hecho desde el año 1956, que es cuando actualmente creamos el sistema de transporte nacional. With that, let me welcome my colleague, a tremendous fighter. I couldn't have a better colleague in the United States Senate who understands these investments, but also understands the investments I referenced to at the end of my comments that are so important and is leading the way on that, Senator Cory Booker.
So first of all, you all should be very happy. I will not sing, but I am extraordinarily pleased to be here with New Jersey's best. This incredible group behind me are the best of New Jersey's local government mayor, the best of our state government with our assemblyman and our extraordinary governor, and our federal delegation that we have here. This is a moment of pride for our country and for our state. Look, I'm going to make this very clear. We have seen the most unprecedented challenges of a generation hit our state and our nation. A global pandemic that had a crushing blow on our economy. And what we have seen from President Biden and from the New Jersey congressional delegation in partnership with our governor is the greatest one-year investment in New Jersey that we have seen in federal governance in over a century. We brought home the resources. The first thing folks know already is in the pit of the pandemic, we were able to pass the American Recovery Act, unfortunately without one Republican vote, that brought billions of dollars to our states, saving our small businesses, investing in our hospitals, giving critical resources to our schools. And then after that, we came with the biggest infrastructure investment our nation has ever seen, that puts a shadow over even what Eisenhower did, as Senator Menendez said, over 60 years ago. And now New Jersey will start to reap the benefits of that infrastructure investment. Clearly, as Senator Menendez said, 500 bridges being repaired in our state, being improved in our state, all while, Ray, creating thousands of jobs for people in our state. This is a time that New Jersey should feel a sense of pride. We have brought home the resources. We're investing it in our state. And when you invest in roads and bridges in New Jersey, you not only create jobs, you expand opportunity for businesses, for economic growth, and more. But this investment is just the beginning. Right now, we are going to see critical investments in getting lead pipes out of the ground to make sure there's clean drinking water. We're seeing investments. 7 Superfund sites in New Jersey, the most toxic of sites, are now getting the resources they finally need to be cleaned up. We are seeing our state in the worst of times show the best of who we are, building upon what our governor has done by making school and healthcare more affordable, building upon what we in New Jersey have done with our grit and our grace, because that's the American way, that's the New Jersey way. We've seen everything come at us, from a pandemic to the worst of storms, and we didn't give in, we didn't give up. Today is a day to show the truth of our state, that we didn't give in, we didn't give up, but we got better. And so now, today, we mark the beginning of a period of investment like this state has not seen in well over a century. But the key is we're going to continue the momentum. You see, we still have work to do, as Bob said. We are going to make sure that we win critical investments for our state because, yes, we invested in our businesses, we invested in families and tax cuts, but we want to continue them. We want to drive down the cost of childcare even more. We want to make sure that we are investing in lowering our prescription drug costs. We want to make sure that we take the biggest middle-class tax cut in the history of the United States in the child tax credit, and we want to extend that. The work will continue, but today is a day for our economy, for jobs, for New Jersey families, for New Jersey commuters, for the state of New Jersey. Today is a day to rejoice. And if there's anybody, I tell you, I'm so proud, this delegation, dollar for dollar, pound for pound, we've gotten more dollars, we've punched above our weight in terms of bringing resources back to the state of New Jersey. And if there's anybody that knows how to punch above their weight, it is the most prodigiously powerful, pugilistic person in the Senate, and that is Congressman Pascrell. Come on forward, Congressman. Birthday boy.
I didn't know you demoted me to the Senate.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Congressman, not a senator. We got enough power in the Senate right now.
Good morning, everyone. It's really good to see all of you here today. This is celebration, Governor. Unlike other celebrations in this country, and you better write about it and talk about it, we go to open up a bridge or start working on a major road, and the Republicans show up. They had the damn, I'm going to be political today. Ha ha. They show up at the event to cut the ribbon or turn over the dirt. And not one of them voted for this. You know what this reminds me of, Bob? This reminds me of when we opened up the VA extension in Paramus. This is happening like rote. And if you remember, not one of them voted for the major issue back in 2009. In fact, the congressman from that district showed up to turn the dirt, showed up for the grand opening, showed up. Now, I don't mind if people take credit for what they do. But the only thing these guys and gals have contributed on the other side, look at the vote, is let's adjourn. We are here to prove in New Jersey that our job is to work for our checks and not to ask for adjournment. And how many times did they ask for adjournment during the debate? How many times? So it's great to see you all on my birthday today. One of my sons called me at 6:30. I was sleeping to wish me happy birthday. It's great of you all to come out. Not on my birthday, but on this event. We could have done this at Patsy's Pizza in Patterson, but we revitalized bridges are the best presents any of us can dream of. There's no state in our union that relies on its roads and bridges more than New Jersey, or our railroads. Not one. The biggest mass transit system in the country. And Commissioner, what percentage of federal funds are needed to operate mass transit in New Jersey? Quite a bit. When they put the finishing touches on this Route 3 eastbound behind us, by the way, this bridge is top priority in the state of New Jersey for repairs. This one right here. If you go underneath it, you might not want to drive on it anymore. So when they put the finishing touches on Route 3 behind us, FDR was still in his first term. The westbound was completed under JFK. Two great Democratic presidents a long time ago. These two bridges alone, 147 total years of wear and tear. Along one of the busiest commuter arteries in the Western Hemisphere. They're not alone. As Bob said, there's 502 bridges across New Jersey that aren't up to par. Our commuters are driving every day on over 500 substandard bridges. Try that on for size. And then adjourn! Or do something about it. Facts matter. We have seen the worst case in places like Minneapolis, where Interstate 35 fell into the Mississippi River 15 years ago. Some of you remember that. We're nowhere near that point. But an old bridge being shuttered for safety could delay a father or a mother an extra 20 minutes seeking detours on their way home. This is time not spent at home, at kids' games, at family dinners. Stretch 5 days a week for months and then years, that time really adds up. So look up and down the Hackensack River. There are no automobile crossings nearby. A failure here at this key feeder to the Lincoln Tunnel would cause mass chaos for this region and affect commuters all the way back to the Passaic County, Morris County, and further. But as the mayor will tell you, our great mayor here in Secaucus, as our mayor will tell you, Mayor Ganelli, we just did something in the Hackensack River in order to make it navigable, in order to bring commerce back. I commend the mayor for his efforts. Solutions haven't been easy to come by. We all know that the last administration opposed our bridge building, both physically and metaphorically. And Governor Murphy's predecessor didn't give a hoot about our commuters. I'll wait. Tell me what he did to do something for them. I'll listen. Our region has suffered grievously from political pettiness. Things change. We finally have a governor, a president, and a Congress. Not because they're Democrats, but because they care. Who are simultaneously committed to rebuilding. The $124 million project behind me, we are announcing here today, is the direct fruit of action by a Democratic Congress. I couldn't find two better people to work with than Bob Menendez and Cory Booker. I couldn't. These guys worked their tails off. Untold stories in our aggressive House delegation. The generational infrastructure legislation signed into law by President Biden will send over $1 billion to New Jersey. That's $1 billion. That money is being used on bridges like we're celebrating today. This law was approved in November, and we're here in January because there's no time to waste. We're behind time. Our window for action is narrow. Governor Murphy, our senators, our delegation are moving with absolute urgency. Our region's drivers deserve to cross their bridges with ease and confidence. Our drivers deserve to know that they will get to their destination on time. And our commuters have earned the right to be home for dinner. And paired with the major gateway tunnel, which the last administration tried to bury, adjourn. Do nothing. Pick up your check. They're going to mail it to you if you don't pick it up. Why the hell work when you can get away with it? And you wrote nothing about it. Nothing. At least you could say the sun's out or something. Our travelers deserve to know that they will get their destination on time. And our commuters have earned the right to be home for dinner. So, investments that are being announced today will make sure that the travelers moving behind us won't lose an extra minute of their lives. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me say in conclusion, when you read the public record on this bridge, you hesitate to drive over it. Read. Facts matter. And that's why we would not relent. We would be relentless in attempting to bring home what is ours. We pay a lot of taxes in the state of New Jersey to the federal government. We have every right. We have every right to fight for every dollar, to invest it in our state. We're worth it. We're not a secondary state. We're not a moocher state. We're not waiting for New Jersey to pay more federal taxes. We pay the most in the country, just about, in federal dollars. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And thank you, President Biden, for keeping your word. The guy can't catch a break. But we're going to continue our fight. We're not giving up at all. God bless this great state. God bless the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. Have a good week.
Thank you, Congressman. And we are thrilled to start the second term of Governor Murphy with this major investment, but it takes an executive who works with the delegation to prime the projects so that we can make the greatest, most successful advocacy, and that's what we have in Governor Phil Murphy. Governor?
Thank you, Senator. I'm incredibly honored to be here today. I quote my late mother, "You're known by the company you keep." Look at the company up here. Extraordinary federal delegation. Senator Menendez, thank you for hosting us so graciously today and for everything you do. Ditto to Senator Booker, the birthday boy, Congressman Bill Pascrell. Who wants to be on the other side of this guy? I certainly don't. Mayor Ganelli, thank you for hosting us, and thank you for my way cool Secaucus mask. Chief, to you and the heroic and brave members of law enforcement. Assemblyman Pedro Mejia, it's always an honor to stand with you, my friend. Commissioners Marenko and Cirillo. Extraordinary labor leader, Ray Pocino, who we'll hear from in a minute or two, and my colleague in state government, the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, Diane Gutierrez-Scaccetti. I also want to thank our hosts from the Red Roof Inn. Why do I say that? Because I've never said that before. So thanks for hosting us, folks. I'll be very brief. This is a big deal. As President Biden himself once said about the Affordable Care Act many years ago as Vice President, this is a big deal for America and for New Jersey, especially for this state. We are the most densely populated state in the nation. We are the quintessential corridor state. We are the quintessential organized labor state. If you stop right there and you think about investing at long last in 500 plus bridges, beginning with this one right behind us, this is a game-changing day. Two other quick points. This is federal money, so we thank our extraordinary delegation and President Biden for living up to his word and signing this transformational infrastructure and jobs investment. But as was mentioned earlier by Senator Booker, it takes a village. So I want to acknowledge the local leadership, the county leadership, the state leadership with Diane in particular, our leadership from organized labor, and obviously our extraordinary federal delegation. It does take a village. And lastly, there's a way cool wrinkle, and Diane, I think, is going to give a little bit more detail on this, and Senator Menendez alluded to this. In the bridge behind us, when it is when its replacement is built, it will include a feature to lay down a light rail connection across the river. That is in and of itself a potential game changer, obviously linking in and relieving a lot of the traffic in and out of MetLife and American Dream, which is right across the river from us. So that is an option that we will have as a state, obviously an option we want to pursue, but in and of itself, that is a game changer. So for all the above reasons and to all the above folks I'm standing with today, I'm honored to be here. Please help me welcome the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, Diane Gutierrez-Scaccetti.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Senators Menendez and Booker and Congressman Pascrell, Mayor Ganelli, for allowing me to say a few words today. This is a big day. For us, we like to call this a remarkable day. It's been a long time since the DOT has seen an infusion of funding that will allow us to go beyond our continual financially constrained budget to do more that we're ready to do. We want to say a big thank you for the fact that we are getting additional federal funds in our apportionments. Our formula funding is going up, but most especially this $1.14 billion dedicated to bridges is a remarkable investment. Yes, that bridge behind me is in the worst condition of any bridge in the state, although I will say that you can drive over it. We keep it the way it needs to be, but what really needs to happen is it needs to be replaced. It needs to be replaced sooner rather than later. And because of the efforts of our congressional delegation, we have 5 years to get these projects up and in. You know, in past investment bills that have gone through, in particular, we had to have shovel-ready projects. Our congressional delegation had the vision to fight for shovel-worthy projects that have to get done and to give us the time to spend the money. That is incredibly important to the DOT being able to carry out its mission. So we are very grateful for all of the money coming to New Jersey. We commit to spending it wisely. I know that the governor holds us to task on that, and we are certainly ready to deliver. But the interesting thing about this bridge is it will be built to carry a light rail system. We have a vision for the Secaucus Junction train station to make it a hub for those who wish to come and enjoy entertainment at American Dream or a game at the stadium. We have a vision that says you can come from Boston or Washington, take a nice train ride, get off in Secaucus, and hop on a monorail type system that may allow you to travel all the way through with not being in your car. You know, there's a misnomer that in transportation we're only interested in building bigger and better roads. What we're interested in building is a bigger and better transportation system that serves everyone. So this project is a first step in that, and this funding is going to allow us to do that. So I offer my sincerest thanks to Congressman Pascrell, to Senator Booker, and most especially Senator Menendez, who's been our transportation guardian angel in Washington for a very long time, for all of their efforts to make certain that money that belongs in New Jersey comes to New Jersey, and we will continue to do not only big projects like this, but many other projects across the state that will be important to communities, to families, to opportunities that otherwise may not have existed. So with that, our deep gratitude, and thank you very much, Governor.
All right. And finally, let me introduce, as I mentioned him before, this is about a lot of things: quality of life, infrastructure, better air that we can all breathe. but it's also about jobs, jobs, and more jobs. And they are high-paying jobs. And one of our labor leaders who personifies the advocacy to have helped us create this type of legislation to create those jobs is Ray Pocino of the International Labor Association.
Thank you, Senator Menendez, for that introduction. I appreciate it. So what brings us out here today on this mid-January afternoon outside? Well, it's good news that brings us here, and indeed, I call it great news. It's been, as described here, a long time since we've had this kind of investment in the state of New Jersey for infrastructure. I've been a member and a labor leader in LIUNA, the Labor's International Union, for 65 years. And this is the largest I've ever seen in my lifetime as far as an investment. And it's obviously, as described here, going to bring us great infrastructure improvements across the state. Bridges, highways, as described by Senator Booker, lead pipes being taken out of the ground, improvement in terms of energy, improvement whether it's wind or solar, various types of improvements across the state. But I'm here to tell you that what's important to me and my members is the jobs that are going to be created. Good paying jobs. Jobs that bring wages that are going to put food on the table and ample supplies for members and their families and all workers across the state. Jobs that are going to be able to afford rent, buy a house, buy a car, those kinds of things. And what comes with that is a prevailing wage package that includes benefits like insurance, health insurance, pension fund contributions, training and apprenticeship opportunities for workers of New Jersey, citizens of New Jersey, that comes along with this whole package. There's going to be a mandate or a suggestion, or whatever you want to call it, in the spending of this money that local hires are considered. It's going to set local opportunities for workers in this state to gain a career opportunity as far as construction is concerned. And that is part of the package as well, that is operated, maintained by the labor organizations that are represented across the state. So it's a significant opportunity for us to celebrate for many years. That's going to require work by citizens in New Jersey and workers in New Jersey. You don't spend $13.5 billion in 1 year. It's going to take several years of work opportunities across this state. I want to say also that, we enjoy this great economic mecca that we have here in this region, and we need to take care of it, as been described by various leaders across that's enjoying this ceremony here today. And I want to commend Senator Menendez, Senator Booker, Congressman Pascrell, Governor Murphy, Mayor Denali, Commissioner Scaccetti, for all of the work and hard work that they put in terms of achieving what we've accomplished here today. So I want to say one other thing that, and this may not be to Congressman Pascrell's liking, but this was truly a bipartisan effort across the country and particularly in the state. This is one of the few states that unanimously approved, the whole delegation approved the passage of this bill. I think I can only think of one other state that was involved in that kind of a unanimous, and that would be the state of Delaware, but there are only 3 representatives down there. But again, commendations to them. I want to say that I'm proudly here today to welcome this opportunity and to offer whatever it is we can do to implement and carry this on in terms of getting this infrastructure built in the state of New Jersey. So God bless you all, and let's get started. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ray. We'll have a couple of on-topic questions. If anybody has an off-topic question, we'll deal with it off the podium. Any on-topic questions? Yes, Peter.
Questions. One, what is the timing of this bridge? And 2 is, what's involved in getting light rail from Secaucus Junction to here?
So the timing on this bridge is we're just finishing concept development, which is where we look at how we'll construct the bridge. We're going to raise the bridge up so that we meet all the requirements of navigation. So it'll probably be about a 2-year design window before we're ready to break ground. And that's the significance of what our congressional delegation did in giving us this 5-year window. Is there are now projects that start in January and finish in December. We need that extra time to get through design and then right-of-way acquisition if it's necessary. As far as what's necessary for light rail, it's really putting the piers in now that will eventually support that light rail. If we have to go in the water twice, it means a duplicate set of permits. If we do this bridge the right way, is how we should think of all of our investments. We'll build the foundation to allow us to expand it in the future to be a multimodal facility. So we have looked at it conceptually. It's kind of a vision that we have as we talk about using transportation systems wisely. And hopefully it'll come to fruition as we continue to design this bridge. The foundations will definitely be built to carry a light rail system on the side of the bridge. Well, that's surface transportation. That's easier to do. This is the hard. If you look at the critical path, putting it in the water is the hardest piece for us. So making sure this bridge is ready for it when we're ready to build it is key. It's the wisest use of our dollars.
What I appreciate about that is the thinking prospectively, the vision to say we want to get less cars out there. We want to have light rail be able to move people more effectively to more venues, and taking advantage of the opportunity to build a new bridge and creating it in a way that allows that to be done. So we look forward to that opportunity. Yes. Well, there's on point 1 on Gateway, we have all said, the governor, Senator Booker, Congressman Pascrell, for that fact, the delegation as a whole, has said that if we get an honest judgment of the Gateway project, we will get higher ratings. The previous administration took ratings that were high and then degraded them, even though nothing changed about the project. So it was purposeful. This new administration, new Federal Transit Administrator, when she appeared before my committee, I made sure that I said, I want an honest assessment of Gateway. And just this week, we have the announcement that the ratings of Gateway have moved to moderate high versus low. And so that's going to dramatically affect our ability to open the door, allows us to move to engineering, and to open the doors for funding. And I am convinced that Gateway is a project that is going to happen. Now, as to whether it's Gateway or this bridge, big things don't happen in small amounts of time. You don't take a bridge like this and design it and then begin to build it and ultimately see it turn around in a short period of time. I think what's important for people to know is that this is going to be a reality. We're not sitting here today or standing here today and saying we look forward to trying to fight for monies for a bridge that will do this or that. The money's here. The design is going to begin, and that means we are going to see success. And in other places, it will move much more quicker. This is a major project. In other places, it will move much more quicker. Mass transit money, that is part of the overall legislation, that will come much quicker. So I believe that the effects of what we want to see will be seen in a way that is palpable, that people will say, okay, I finally see progress. It won't all happen tomorrow, but they'll see progress. Yeah. Anybody else who wants to join me in this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. So the public doesn't only know about a project when we put a shovel in the ground. There's a public engagement process that the DOT goes through. So even through the design, even through concept development, they've been made aware of it, and they'll watch the progress along with us. They may like us to move faster, but we go through a very, very meticulous process that's laid out for us by the federal government of public engagement. So they are kept informed. We keep their local officials informed, and so you may not see construction, but you will see progress. We will be driving the piles for the light rail. When we break ground for this project, the light rail will go in when we have the full system ready to go. There's no need to build those tracks and then wait a couple years to connect them. So what we need to do is make sure foundationally it can be supported.
Thank you.
Senator Menendez,
Yes.
New Jerseyans expect to see more announcements from this bipartisan infrastructure law, and also you're the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. If you could, if we would appreciate you to give us an update on Russia and Ukraine. A lot of Americans are concerned about this right now.
Yeah, I'm happy to do the Russia thing on the side. I don't want to keep everybody here on that. As it relates to other announcements, I think both Senator Booker and Congressman Pascrell and I are going to be rolling out all the different elements of this. We're focused on bridges today, but there's mass transit money that is part of this. There's also money for creating an electrification for vehicles so that we can have more electric vehicles on the highway. Senator Booker talked about the lead pipes issues that are incredibly important in a state that built at a time in which lead pipe was the norm, and ultimately removing them and creating a system of clean water so that when we turn on the tap, what we ultimately get is what we expect, clean water. Those are all different things that we'll be working through announcements in the days ahead, but most importantly, all of that work and projects will be beginning in the days ahead. And I'm happy to answer on Russia afterwards. Any last question on topic? Yes. I think the funding is ultimately tapped into the provisions of what we do in the mass transit stuff. Right?
It will be, and likely we will explore the opportunities to do it as a P3, so that we're getting an investment from the private side that would actually build and operate it for us. So it evolves, but at the end of the day, until you have the infrastructure, until you have what we build from the money that is being provided to us by our Congress, by the White House, there isn't even a thought of it. So right now, we are just thrilled to be able to rebuild this bridge and create the multimodal opportunity.
It's similar to when we built the Hudson Bergen light rail, right? We laid a foundation for it, and then we did the design. We did the agreements between the communities as to which way it would travel, and then we went for the money and achieved it. And I believe we'll do that this way as well. Let me thank Mayor Ganelli as well as all the Secaucus officials. Chief, thank you and your men and women of the force, as well as our state police. You know, it's always a right moment to thank our champions in law enforcement. You don't wait for something tragic to happen to say thank you. You say thank you for the service that they provide each and every day. And when we see what just recently happened in New York, we're reminded of the incredible challenge and danger that they face in order to protect all of us. So we want to thank all of our law enforcement people, and thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator, it's nice to see you.